Ba weep gra na weep ninny bong. And for those of you who know what that means, you know it's the universal greeting. And for those of you who don't know what it means, then I feel bad for you because this guy knows what it means. This, of course, is the Walgreens exclusive Power of the Primes Wreck-Gar. Even though I'm in Canada and we don't have Walgreens, I managed to get this guy at EB Games. And I believe that's where he is an exclusive up here. And he's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. I'm so glad that you're here again. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. Please, like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. Stick around, check out the channel, have some fun with us. And this is the brand spanking new, fresh shit of the package, Wreck-Gar. Did Wreck-Gar need an update? I don't know. I liked his Generations figure, even though sometimes the transformation could get a little complicated. Sometimes I forget how to do certain things there. Granted, he's noted for having at least one of the handlebars on the bike crack off. It hasn't happened to me, but I know it's a common issue. I do find the hips on mine really tight, and I worry about someday cracking those, so maybe it's not such a bad idea, especially when it's such a great mold. Is it an ideal use for Wreck-Gar? That might be debatable, but I do think it makes a very, very strong Junkion. I rhymed. Anyway, enough of me kind of rambling on a little bit here. Let's head over to the table and take a closer look at him. And here we have the apparent leader of the Junkions, of course, the exclusive. In Canada, it seems to be at EB Games, which is great. I know in the States, the Walgreens exclusive. Apparently, EB Games is getting a lot of these Walgreens exclusives, if not all of them now, which is nice, because otherwise I don't really know how we would get them up here. This, of course, is the Power of the Primes Wreck-Gar. And it's a great mold, it's a great use of the mold. I don't know if it's the best Wreck-Gar, but it's certainly a wonderful Junkion. And there's a thing with it that a lot of people have said, it seems to be misassembly. I think it's probably done deliberately because these guys are supposed to be cobbled together out of junk. Now before I go on, just a couple of quick shout outs to Mark Cassidy, the Ultron 2 Show, T-U-S-H-O-W, Kendrick Hill, Foxy 360, Polo Oz, A-U-Z, I think it's Oz, not Oz, I think it's Oz. If I'm wrong, hey, Polo pointed out to me. Pandaman, Angel Storm, Unryu, and I have no idea if that's pronounced right because there's like an accent, a squiggle over the U, Jet Colt, Best Friends Videos, Norbert Herrera, Tony Teo, or T-O, T-E-O. So however you pronounce T-E-O. Cobra Clan? Chalan? I'm not sure how to say the end of it, but I assume it's a play on Cobra Khan, which is pretty cool in and of itself. Jesse Van Sleet, Autobot Commander Ironhide, John Tarr, and of course, good friend of the channel, Masterfire, who is, as I understand it, recovering from some dental work. Feel bad for the guy. That's never fun. And he's actually going to be doing something fun for us here and kind of sending it along to me. I'm going to use it. Don't worry, Masterfire. I'm going to use it. I do have an idea and a plan. This is Wreck-Gar, and he's a Power of the Primes figure. He's an exclusive, and he comes with all of this stuff. Some of it is kind of interesting, to say the least. And we're going to start out, as we always do, and take a quick look at the packaging first. And this sure is packaging. It's actually decent artwork up here of Wreck-Gar. The coloring on his face is a little bit different. I do want to note that he does have his bike windshield on the very top of his head. We see the figure down here in bike mode. I think he's supposed to be considered a part of the combiner with Inferno because we have the Inferno combiner art over here. And when we come to the back, you know, it's the back. It has all of your product shots and whatnot. Because this is really a use of a Combiner Wars mold, the integration of the prime armor is a bit wishy-washy at best, and I don't personally like the way that it's shown here. I do a bit of a variation on it that I've seen kicking around, so we will kind of see that as we go. But there you go, packaging. There's an instruction booklet. It's all right. I mean, if you know the mold, then I don't know if you really need these instructions, maybe for the integration of his accessories, but I don't really like to integrate the accessories the way that they're explained in here anyway. And why would we even have an interest in the accessories? Well, because he comes packaged with... Because he comes with this, it is just prime armor. It's the exact same prime armor that comes with the Dinobots and comes with the Abominus Combiner. It has 3 spikes on the knuckles. You can take out this centerpiece here and it has a little tab on it, or a little, I guess, peg on it, so it can be held as like an extra blaster, I suppose. You can put a Titan Master, Prime Master, the core of an Enigma combination, or the core of a Matrix of leadership in there if you want. This is never ever going to be used by me. I don't know, it's nothing, there's nothing new here. And he also comes with this staff thing, I guess, that you can open out to make into like a cool looking axe thing. It came with the Generations Wreck-Gar. It does bend at a hinge right here, but it has a C-clip. Now, in the age of 5mm pegs and ports, how do we integrate a C-clip? Nevertheless, it looks cool, and I always like this accessory, so I'm kind of glad to have it again. The ever-popular collector card! And this one is Quintus Wreck-Gar. It's nice art on the front, by the way, showing off the way that the artwork looks. It looks good. And it says that Quintus Wreck-Gar can form life from the trash on every other planet. Now, the interesting thing is, every time I have seen anybody kind of post a picture of the Power of the Primes Wreck-Gar or anything, the only card I've seen so far is Quintus. And now here's Wreck-Gar. And you would be led to believe that in this mode, you should flip down the peg, put up the thumbs, and the storage for his prime armor is right there in his hand, which you can certainly do, or you can leave the thumbs down, and you can come to the back and sort of move the tire out of the way and access the peg right there. And this will, if I can do it here now, like that'll still peg in on the back. Now the back tire is sort of off center, but I think that that's all right, because again, the guy's supposed to be cobbled together out of junk. I'm fine with that. So you could, you know, you could put that back there. It's fine. It's all right. Then we have, of course, his other accessory in this mode, and we know that it opens and closes like this. It can also bend like this. For now, we should be able to slide it into his hand. So, you know, he has that option, so to speak. But for storage otherwise in this mode, you can close it up. And using the handlebars on the bike, like right here, or the handlebar over right here, you can use the C-clip and put it on there. It can be a little precarious getting it on there, but like you can do it. I'm hoping I can do it from this side. We'll see here now. We'll see how fortunate I am here now. Actually, maybe it's probably better if I do it from the other side, if I can. And now, admittedly, it took me a few minutes of fiddling with it, but I got it on up here. It's just on over the handlebar. And you just need to kind of, I guess, manipulate the C-clip, which is on a ball peg, into such a position that, like, it can go on there. Now, you know, you can certainly store the stuff this way. This, for me, will never, ever, ever be used. It's a throwaway, as far as I'm concerned, because the guy's not going to be a limb for me. Wreck-Gar wasn't a combiner, but he might be for you, so we will leave it there for now. It stores up here. It's alright. I think that's sticking off to the side because, again, the guy is supposed to be cobbled together out of junk. I'm cool with it. Now we can get down to grading this guy, but before we do that, I just want to show him standing next to the earlier incarnation of himself. That being the earlier generations version of Wreck-Gar. Now to me, I feel like this embodies Wreck-Gar better than this. Not that this is bad, but I feel like that this is a great Junkion. By the way, I looked at Wreck-Gar, the original, the Generations one, a long time ago in episode 25. And I also looked at the version of him and Scrapyard, Scrap Heap, whatever his name is, Junkyard, Junk Heap, whatever the other Junkion's name is. I looked at both of those from the Platinum Edition Planet of Junk Clash set in episode 31. So I really kind of haven't looked at Wreck-Gar or a version thereof in a long, long time. So that's how they look together. This is a more complicated mold to put into bike form than this is, for sure. But like they both look good and there's an argument to be made for both of them. Now, that being said, let's get down to kind of giving some grades for paint apps, posability, playability, and transformation for the new version. So paint apps for this Wreck-Gar, 8 we'll say, like it's good. You know, you look at it, you definitely say it's a Junkion, you'll probably say it's Wreck-Gar, it's good. I will say this, I thought that the knees, the toes, and the shoulders were black. They're not, they're a dark bronzy brown. Actually, it's very glossy, it's really nice paint. That's more accurate, but really he should have some silver and red on his forearms. The red should go across his upper chest. He should have those two blasters that come out of his chest. The face should be more of a, like a tan, yellowy than it is silver. I do think the head sculpt here, while it's nice, I think it's a little small for the mold. I feel like it's small, and I think it's probably done small to accommodate the two little pieces sticking up here. He does not have the windshield up top, though you could paint it yourself. I may do that yet, I'm not sure. His hips that are gray, they should really be like a brown type of color. The lower legs should be like a gray silver. Now we do have that in behind on the hinge, but really out here probably should be, but I can give, you know, I can give that to him. It's fine. It's fine. It is fine. So yeah, I say 8. Like, it's an acceptable Wreck-Gar. It's all right. He doesn't look quite as cobbled together from junk pieces as the Generations version, which is something that I kind of like about the guy. And I kind of like the lankiness of the Generations version better, even though arguably many would say he's not that lanky. This is a better silhouette, and I can't necessarily argue with you. It kind of is a better silhouette. But 8 for looks. Not bad. What about his posability? Well, he makes a fine leg, he makes a fine arm, he makes a fine bike, as we'll see as we go through. In this mode, we've seen this before, left, right. You know, if you want to get up, you can use the combiner peg. If you want to get down, you can use the combiner peg. The shoulders, I mean, they go all the way around, well out to the side. We have 90 degrees at the elbow. The arm has a bicep swivel. We do have a nice waist. Actually, the waist on him moves really nicely. We have legs that can go way forward, way back. We have a 90-degree bend at the knee, thigh swivel, and of course he can do full splits. But I will say this, out of package, interestingly enough, I'm going to unpeg his leg here now. Mine was packaged really like this, like the leg was not tabbed in. So fresh out of package, I had to straighten that hinge up and then peg the leg in. So something to note, he's not pegged in fresh out of package. The articulation, he doesn't have wrist swivel or an ankle tilt, but it's a deluxe kind of what do you expect. I'm going to say his articulation is, all the joints feel nice. I'm going to say it's a solid 9. I think it's really good. I think that this is a really well articulated figure, especially considering it has the backpack. Like, he stands very, very nicely. Mostly because he has big feet, so it's good. So we have an 8, we have a 9, he's 8.5. What about that conversion? Well, we're going to get into that now, and of course that means taking off the piece on the side, taking off the prime armor on the back, which does peg in rather tightly. And we'll lay those aside, and we'll straighten this up. We're going to go to his, I guess his arm mode first, and then we'll go to leg, then we'll go to motorcycle mode. Seems like a plan to me. Seems like a good plan to me. So arm mode probably isn't going to come as a shock to anyone. And I'm not going to belabor the conversion here because we've seen it before. Put that back, put that up, peg the legs together. Now the legs peg very, very tight on this guy, I find. Like you heard the snap there. I find that it's the tightest that the legs peg on this mold. I turn the legs this way to have the double bicep. In terms of the arms, bring them down, push that in. This one over here, bring it down, bend up the arm, turn it around, and like there you go, there you have him as an arm. And just because he is a Power of the Primes figure, I don't know, we'll take, and I just pop that down, we'll take his handpiece. I can't get the handpiece to fit in. I'm sure it does. There, that's pretty tight, but there you go, it's an arm. It's an arm. So, it's an arm. Okay, we're going to go to leg next, again, very quickly, because we do not need to belabor this guy at all. And I'm just going to get the arms here out of the way for a moment. We open up his legs and we combiner them down. That's exactly what we do. We close them back up and put those hands back. We straighten this up, and we would put a foot piece in the bottom, and he would be a leg. And he would make a fine leg as far as I'm concerned. And just to give a better view of the leg mode, now you do have a huge kneecap there, but you can see it there. In terms of him being a motorcycle, because that's the last one for us to go into, that is super duper easy from here. And yeah, shouldn't take us very long at all. We put that peg down, we turn the head around, we lift this out, we rotate the whole backpack around, not the handlebars, just the tire and the windshield, in case for some reason you're not familiar with the mold, and we bring that all the way down. We already have the back done really, except for bringing the tire out. We'll do that in a minute. The shoulders, they come up. Now I will say this, the shoulder hinges, the ball joints there are really quite tight. At least they are on mine. The shoulders do like to pop off of the ball joints there a little bit, so something to note. But we bring that out, we bring that in next to his head. Other side, we bring the shoulder back up, we bring the arm forward, we bring it in next to his head. Take these forearms and bend, and there's little rectangular pegs on the arms. They go into slots in the black on the chest. Peg it in, and peg it in. And now we have a motorcycle. That looks pretty cool. I kind of dig this. I'll even put down the little kickstand piece there. Oh, but we're not quite done, are we? The back tire needs to come around. These two pieces, they peg together to give us our back tire. They peg together a little precariously here. If you haven't done so, push the seat down into position. It locks out over a couple of pegs there at the seat. But now, in the end, we have... If I can make the kickstand here work. Ah, he wants to fall over. Now we have a motorcycle. Holy moly. And I dig this motorcycle mode. As a matter of fact, if you're so inclined, you can even take the Generations Wreck-Gar and like he can fit on top and ride the motorcycle no problem. I know it's sort of at a frame there now, so give me a moment. See, he would fit on there no problem. And the reverse is also true. The Power of the Primes Wreck-Gar can fit on the Generations Wreck-Gar in bike mode as well. So I think that that's a cool feature. Now, obviously, so that the proportion doesn't seem quite as wonky, you would position things a bit better than I have it here. You know, you'd bend the legs of the Generation more, so he's actually sitting on the seat, but he can do it no problem at all, in case you were wondering. Taking that off. And that brings us to the accessories here. Now, officially, here's what you're told to do. This. And I'm like, I didn't even show you exactly what I did here because this looks awful. All we have done is, again, we have his, like, axle tailpipe thing attached to his handlebar by the C-clip, and we use that peg on the back that we had the primer armor put into in robot mode to again attach it there on, I guess what's technically his gas tank. That looks terrible. Don't do this. Do not do this even though it's what the instructions say. So what can you do as an alternative? I'm about to show you. You first remove that and take this off. This is the easy piece. The foot peg. Use the foot peg. Attach it on the back. You can even bring the thumbs kind of forward a little bit if you want. Like that looks a lot better. It looks kind of cool. And I also saw where you could, and I guess I'll do it on this side actually. I also saw a way where this piece was like affixed here, but it looked like it was done underneath. And I'm thinking we have a little, I guess, display stand peg there, or slot. You could put something in there and then attach the C-clip. Or there is another option. It's not quite as good, but I think it's better than the handlebar, where you can take the C-clip and really here where the legs go together, you can kind of put it down over. So you open the leg a little bit, you take this piece, and it can, if I can get it down over here now, slide down over, and then you close it up. And when you close the leg up, and it's closed up solidly, though this is just down over the edge of the leg, and I'll try and show closer in a minute, it actually holds quite securely. It's not going anywhere, and at least it still kind of looks like, at least semi-wise, a bit of a tailpipe coming off of the bike, and it looks a little more natural, at least in my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to try and show it closer here now. Down right here, we have the section where the ball peg is that has the C-clip on it. The C-clip is facing downward toward the bottom of the vehicle, and it's clipped on over really part of the leg, and you have to have the two parts of the leg open to clip it down over, and then you close them up, and that's what sort of solidifies it in place. But in the end, this is Wreck-Gar as a bike with his accessories on him. At least I think this looks like a junkyard. It makes sense. I like it. I dig it. The transformation is as easy as this mold ever was. I'm giving it a 9. I think overall that this is a great mold, a great Junkion. And if you don't have the Generations Wreck-Gar, it's a great Wreck-Gar. But either way, it's a great Junkion. When it comes to being Wreck-Gar, if you have the Generations one, I don't think you need to update it or replace it with this one in order to have a good quality Wreck-Gar. But if you want to add to your Junkion ranks, this is a fantastic one to get. No doubt about it. Overall, he's about an 8.75. It's a solid mold, solid figure. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I did forget, though it has absolutely no effect on the score for this guy, and I still think he's a win, the misassembly issue. A lot of people have complained and said that the elbows are on the wrong side because we have like what looks like maybe an ear intake vent facing the wrong way here and here. They should be facing each other. I don't even know if you can see that. Maybe if I turn that other way. There. Now you should be able to see it. They're not facing each other, they're facing opposite. So a lot of people have popped them off and put them on the right way. I don't think you're supposed to. I think that's deliberate. I think it's supposed to be a nod to these guys being cobbled together out of junk. Because it seems like everybody's version has it this way. The official stock photography has it that way, even though the product shot on the package has them the right way. I don't think this is a misassembly. I think that this is absolutely deliberate. And I kind of dig it in a way because it sort of makes this bike like its own thing. It makes it Wreck-Gar's own thing. So like I said, 8.75, I think he is an absolute win and definitely worth getting. If not as a Wreck-Gar, definitely as a Junkion. And we're back, and he's pretty great. The paint apps, you know, they're kind of necessarily stylized because of the mold a little bit. I do think we could have had red across the upper part of his chest, no problem. I don't know why that wasn't really done. We could have probably had at least an orange down on the lower part, if not a tan. I understand why the arms were left as they were. I still think that the elbows are not misassembled. I think that that's done deliberately because he's supposed to be cobbled together junk. I said it before. I do wish that the face was kind of more of a, like a tan color because it's not silver. I do think that the head sculpt is kind of small. Like the guy sort of has a tiny head for his body. I keep thinking about that BotCon version of Punch Double Punch. Or no, Punch Counter Punch. Punch Counter Punch. It's late. I'm tired. But a lot of people said that the head on that one was really little. Well, I feel the same thing here. As where that one had a mask and really had to serve as having two faces, this one I think is smaller because we have these little starts that I guess are supposed to be handlebars coming out of his head. And I think because they need to be there, the actual mass of the head itself had to be smaller. It's not that it looks bad, and I didn't really notice it in stock photography, but I notice it in hand. That being said, the paint apps and whatnot that are here are fantastic. They're amazing. If you don't have the generations, or you don't really like how it transforms, this is a fine, fine addition as Wreck-Gar. If you do have that one, this is still a fine addition as a Junkion. As a matter of fact, I'm highly thinking about having this guy as my version of Recycle. And if you don't know who that is, look him up. Look him up. He's a Junkion. I like it. It's a fun mold. It was a fun mold for Afterburner. I assume it's a fun mold for Groove. I don't have the Combiner Wars Groove. I was fine with the chest. I was fine with the Little Legends one. I was cool with that. It's neat that other Junkions can ride this guy, and I can confirm that he can also ride other Junkions. I think that that's great. Plus, it gives us more than one body type for Junkions. Like, a lot of people over the years have kind of gotten many versions of Scrap Heap or whatever his name is. Junk Heap. Whatever. And the Wreck-Gar mold, because they were really the main Junkion molds that we had. It's nice to have a little bit of variation possible there for it. I certainly don't regret adding him. I think he's great. He's certainly worth the pickup. It's a fun mold. If you already have the generations, I don't think you need another Wreck-Gar. But hey man, who can have too many Junkions? Anyway, let me know what you think about this guy. Is he up your alley or not? You know, I always love to hear what you think of these guys. Once again, I'm going to say thanks for dropping by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. Please hit that subscribe button and stay with us here. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.